We are here with Todd Craven, who is CEO of Galaxy Gaming, which is a fairly small company, but as Galaxy likes to say, they are the largest independent provider of table games to the gaming industry. And Todd, first of all, thank you.
Oh, thank you for having me. And I feel actually pretty lucky to talk to you on a day like today. I don't know when this will post, but the good news this morning on the vaccine, where we have some real positive news for the short term. So I'm an optimist. I'm extra optimistic this morning. So you caught me on a great day.
Good. Talking about the vaccine, this being 2020, we have to start with COVID.
Yeah.
How is Galaxy navigating COVID, and what is your near and midterm outlook for your company and the industry?
Well, like everyone, COVID was unseen, and I think the team dealt with it pretty well. We acted pretty early. In mid-March, we made an announcement that we were not going to bill customers as they were closed. And shortly afterwards, we also worked with our customers and told them that for the remainder of 2020, we were going to do a step-up billing process. We realized that everyone was going to be dealing with things in different ways. And so that was really, really well received by our customers. And then during that time, we wanted to make sure that we did the proper steps to have the company's balance sheet tightened up. So we actually participated in the PPP loan program, which we're in the process of getting forgiven. And then just last week, we received funds for the Main Street loan program, which is the program that was run out by the Fed. And so I think we took good steps to do those things. We were in a good spot from a balance sheet standpoint anyway. And then we got to work kind of under the hood. One of the good things was that we didn't have our R&D team having to deal with field issues. So they were able to start work on the new electronics product that we're going to be debuting here shortly. We worked on some new content that will be unveiled at next month's Galaxy Gaming Connect. And then we finished up the deal for the iGaming distributor, Progressive Game Partners, which we had announced in February. We closed that in August. And while we thought that was a good deal in February, we think it's a really good deal now based on kind of what we're seeing with the movement towards iGaming, not just here, but even in the mature markets over in UK and Europe. We think we'll continue to see, 6 to 8% increase year over year there. And then obviously with the opening of, New Jersey gets a little bit bigger, Pennsylvania and some of these other states coming online, we're very bullish on that.
Sounds like you've been pretty busy.
Yeah, I think so. It's amazing how much time and focus there were on other things when your day-to-day business of dealing with customers went away, that there was a lot of other stuff for us to work on. And so the team, I think, responded really well. I think we're very lucky. By and large, our team and their family members have been healthy through this. The fact that we've retained a great number of the jobs that we had going through all this process, I feel like we're in a pretty good spot just from a humanity standpoint as well.
You've touched on some of the things that you're doing. Maybe you could give us a little overview on Galaxy, your product lines, your company leadership.
Yeah, I mean, again, you mentioned that we're a pretty small company, but I think we kind of punch above our weight a little bit. And that starts with some of the folks we have around the business as well as our board. So we have a board of 4 folks, 3 people that have a tremendous gaming experience with Bill Zender, Gavin Isaacs, and Mark Liparelli. Those are typically names that you probably won't see on a company our size, but a little bit bigger. And then, my partner in crime is a guy by the name of Harry Haggerty, who's been around the business for quite a while in the CFO position, who was at Harrah's and other places like that. And when you go through times like this, it is all about the people that you're surrounded with. And so I've been really lucky that not just with those folks, but with people up and down the business, we've been in a really good position. So that's the team, and the team is gets strengthened, I think, every day. We're bringing people on. We have a new director of accounting starting today. I've got a new software engineer starting on Monday. So we are building up for what we're doing with product, as well as some of the other just functions that we need with the team. What we do, though, is we are table games focused, and we create new content for that type of product through various channels. 4 or 5 years ago, most of that was basically a felt circle that we'd put out there, and someone could play 21 plus 3, and we would license those to casinos throughout mostly North America and a little bit in the UK. And that's evolved a little bit. We now have a lot of our content going into ETG manufacturers, folks like Interblock, and we have some announcements with some other folks that are coming out shortly. And then in the iGaming space is obviously where we're seeing a lot of growth. When I joined the company about 4 or 5 years ago, we did have an iGaming presence, but live dealer table games really hadn't started yet. And so now when you see someone like Evolution out there, when they are dealing a lot of our games, and as they start to grow, and you see the announcements of them coming and being the live dealer partner for a BetMGM or a DraftKings or a Flutter, they bring our product with them. And one of the things that the growth part of it is when we purchased PGP, we now own the #1, #2, and #3 blackjack side bets for digital. We own the #1 flush for digital, the #1 craps game for digital. And so one of the things that's kind of interesting is people play more side bets online than they actually do even in physical casinos. Listening to an interview with Todd from Evolution the other day, he said that 55% of all the hands they deal on blackjack, they're playing at least one side bet. So that is really kind of where the evolution, no pun intended, of our business is starting to go. We're going to really continue to focus on great content, but we realize it's not just going to be on a traditional felt table. It'll be more in different channels, ETGs, iGaming, other things like that.
If you took out your crystal ball, what would Galaxy look like 3 or 4 years from now?
Well, it will be in many more markets. So one of the things that we talk a lot about is really content, channels, which we've just discussed, and markets. Over the last few years, one of the things we've looked at and said, okay, we have a good portfolio, but we know that we have a few holes. We know we needed to tighten things up with a great roulette product, which we think that we have coming now. We knew that we needed some better Asian product for us to get into various markets, which we're not in right now. We're not in Asia today. The roulette product, we think, opens up Latin America, South America for us. And while we do very well in the UK because we own 3-card poker and some of the other things there, if you have a great roulette product, you're really going to tear it up in the UK and over in Europe. So when I think about what we look like 3 or 4 years from now, I think we will be in more physical markets. I think our content is going to evolve because I think that some of the content we look at today, Frank, doesn't necessarily lend itself just to a felt game, because maybe it's difficult for a dealer to track a bet of when someone comes in or doesn't. But if it's on an ETG or an iGaming, I think that becomes more interesting. And so we may have some content that comes out that never gets on felt, but it gets into these other areas. And I think one of the things to look towards in regards to how content might evolve is some of the product that you see with folks like Evolution or what have you, with their Crazy Time and all these other different types of games that aren't necessarily a table, and they aren't necessarily a slot. They're all these different types of things. And I think when some of these guys don't have the confines of a casino, they can get very creative. And so one of the things we think we're good at is good content. And we start to think about the fact that these different providers out there are going to want to find distinct content for themselves. Because if everybody has 21 plus 3 and everybody has bonus craps, how do they differentiate each other? So we think that there's going to be this market out there where there's going to be this great, interesting content that people will provide to these different channels that are coming up. So I see a lot more of that coming in 3 to 4 years from us. And then I think the expansion of sports betting here in the States, we believe iGaming is going to be a fast follower to that. So as those markets open up, we believe that we're going to be a significant player there too.
Okay, well, sounds like you've got a lot of plans to make Galaxy much more diverse than it historically has been. You're a small company. You have a small market cap and a small float.
Yes.
How do you become more investable?
Well, I think it's a couple of things, really. We actually did increase the float a little bit when we did the PGP deal. We issued 3 million more shares. But again, that's closely held with the folks that were the owners of PGP. It becomes a little bit difficult on when you feel like you're not at the valuation you should be at if you want to issue more shares. But I think one of the things that it comes down to is that I probably need to do a better job of telling the story, and we're starting to do that a little bit more. I think interviews like this, I think, are important. We are investing more on the marketing side of things to tell the story. And the story's pretty good. Pre-COVID, we were at 48% EBITDA margins in Q4 of 19 or somewhere around there. And we have a net promoter score over the last year that averages in the 98s. So one of the things I know is that when we're hitting on all cylinders, our customers like us and we're able to make some good money. Individual, when we start to talk about how do we make ourselves more investable, I think that's one of the things that we're working on with our board right now to say, okay, we have a great story to tell. How do we get more people involved? The one thing I can tell you is that I do see more professional funds are starting to nibble a bit and come into the stock at this time. So we are getting a little bit more visibility. It's probably not where I'd like it to be, but we can get better at it. And I think a lot of that falls to me.
Okay, great. Excuse me. You had mentioned some new products earlier, and we are at that time of the year where companies display their newest and best products. What are 2 or 3 products or services you have that investors and the industry really need to understand?
Yeah, so I'm be able to do world premiere. We're offering our first Galaxy Gaming Connect without G2E this year. We're going to do a program on December 8th this year, where we're going to be showing brand new content, and we also have a keynote from this guy that we have hanging around here every once in a while, Gavin Isaacs, who's going to talk about the future of gaming. So we're going to be launching that on December 8th. We have probably 4-ish or 5 new titles we're going to talk about. The 2 I think that are great. One is called Daredevil Poker, and it has a mechanic that we haven't seen before, and it is a gambler's game. And basically, you get to choose how many cards do you want out of 5 to play against the dealer's hand. Odds are better if you got ace high and you've got 1 card you want to play, or you want to play conservative. It's a really, really fun game. One of the other games we have is one that we've actually acquired from one of the students at UNLV, which is this Fight Back Baccarat game. We love the mechanic on it. It's a mechanic that we haven't seen in Baccarat. And we think this is one of those games that we go back to what I was talking about to get us into some of those different markets on there. One of the other big things that we're going to debut there is our brand new electronic system. So this will include everything from new progressive system to new features to new ways to advertise for the casino. So we are very excited about that. And we have 1 or 2 other surprises that we're going to have there. So I would ask people to tune in because I think it's going to be pretty fun. We will be showing more new content and more new electronics at this event than we have at any other event in the company's history. We've been busy.
Well, Todd, thank you. It's been a really good overview. Is there anything else you would like folks to know about Galaxy?
No, I would just say that we hope that everyone remains optimistic. We are in a tough time. We may have some more tough times coming with some of these higher rates that we're seeing, but long term, the good news is out there, and we'll be here. We like working with these customers and helping them out as we can, and we just wish everyone in the industry, competitors alike, let's get through this thing, and I look forward to seeing everybody on the other side.
Okay, great. Todd, thanks very much.
Thank you, sir. Take care.